See, grace does something very beautiful. Grace looks at why you're sinning. What's the pain behind your addiction? And grace begins to speak it to that area of your life and begin to deal with why it is that you're not acting like your actual new nature. Why is it that you keep going back to your old nature? Why is it that you're not living according to the new nature that God has placed in you when you got born again? That's what grace will do. Grace and truth will come into your life and take you from living under the law and stand you in grace. By faith, you have access to this grace in which you stand. And then grace begins to minister to you and says, listen, this is the real pain in your life. Sin deceived you. This is why you have a hardened heart. What you think God did to you, it wasn't God, it was the enemy. When you thought God left you, and the devil's been telling you lies about that, and you've been believing lies, I want you to know I never left you. When you were told that I'm mad at you and I'm angry with you and I'm condemning you and I'm punishing you and I'm causing these bad things to happen in your life because of your sin, I want you to know that's not the truth. Hello? Every good and perfect gift comes from the Father of lights above, in whom there is no variation or shadow of turning. He is no mixture. He doesn't have darkness and light. He's not a mixture of good and evil. He's good. He's neither tempted by evil, nor does he tempt anybody with evil. Right? So what happens is Satan comes and he uses sin and he uses temptation, and we have the sin nature in our flesh, the residue of it. We don't have it in our spirit anymore. And we have it in our ways of thinking, our old mindsets that have to change. And temptation comes, and then the law is preached to you. Don't do that. And then you say, okay, I'm going to do everything I can not to do that. And then you end up doing it. And then you're like, I can't believe I did that. And then the law says, yes, and you're evil and bad and horrible. That's not who you are. Look how condemned you are. That's who you are. And then you feel shame about what you did. Right? And then the law comes, makes you feel guilty, and you feel burdened to the ground, and then you make a commitment, okay, God, I will never do that again. And then you make that decision on your own power, on your own might, and then you do it again. And now it's even worse under the law, because you said you wouldn't do it, now you did it again. My. Now the enemy starts lying to you. Sin says, see who you are? You are a sinful person. He starts to now jab at the image of Christ in you. And he tries to recreate the image of the old man and your old nature. And then he reminds you of all the times you've sinned in the past, that your old man messed up. And he brings it all up and says, this is who you are. You'll always be an alcoholic. You'll always be a drug addict, he tells you. He begins to tell you you'll always be addicted to one thing or another. You'll always be sexually immoral. You'll always be addicted to pornography. You'll always be addicted to this or that. You'll always be a liar. You'll always be a thief. You'll always be this. You'll always be that. And that's what the enemy will tell you. And then the enemy lines up evidence and says, you did this, you did this, you did this. And you're like, yes, I did. I must be all these things. So what's it doing? The enemy keeps focusing on you. What you did. What you didn't do. What you could have done or would have done or should have done. But that's the whole point of the law. It draws a magnifying glass onto you. But grace, you know what grace does? It takes a magnifying glass off of you and puts it on Jesus. Grace shows you how wonderful he is. Grace shows you how sinless he is, how perfect he is, how obedient he is, how awesome he is. And the more you look at him, the more you see him this way, his image gets brightened inside of you. His image gets aroused. His image gets awakened. Grace awakens the new man, and the law awakens the old man.